Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, your post-race edition for the 2018 German Grand Prix. A rain that started in bright sunshine with Sebastian Vettel leading away from pole position, Lewis Hamilton starting all the way down. 14th place was it? It was 14th place. Hey Timo! He's making rude signs at me. All the way down in 14th place, hoping, nay praying, that the race would come to him. He sides his way up through the field. At the same time, Daniel Ricciardo was doing the same from the back row of the grid. Ricciardo ultimately retired from the race. Hamilton, believe it or not, won. The rain fell towards the end of the race sporadically, on and off. Was it enough for inters? Was it enough for full wets? Ultimately, kind of yes, kind of no. And it was just that difficulty of deciding what tyre to be on at the right time that led Sebastian Vettel to make the smallest of mistakes coming into the stadium section, into the barrier, to the roar of the crowd, the Germans out of disbelief, the Dutch in pure jubilation. And ultimately it handed everything to Hamilton and Mercedes, mainly because when Raikkonen came in to change onto fresh inters, when Bottas came to change onto fresh inters, Hamilton had the opportunity to do the same, started entering the pits and then took it on his own back to say, no, you know what, going to do the opposite. He stayed out, won the race, Bottas second, Raikkonen third on a day, a crazy race, a crazy result that nobody expected when this thing started.
I don't shy away from adversity. Of course, it would be always nice if you could start first and pull away, which at the time Sebastian was having that kind of weekend. But when I sat next to the car, I was like, you know what? Just before I got up, I was like, you know what? This is just a chance for me to get back up and maybe do something great tomorrow. So I really got past it quite quick. I had great support from my team when I got back, and I woke up feeling great this morning. And my prayers are not, I don't pray to win, I just pray that I'm able to do what I know I have within me, like live to my capabilities, be the best me I can be. And I feel like today I was able to do that, and that's why I'm like the happiest I've ever been, because I believed in myself my whole life and believed that I have something special in here when I'm in the car, and you don't always get to show it and to use it. If you start first and you finish first, it's not really showing it. Today was one of those days when the rain came that you can really do something great, and so I'm grateful for a day like today.
Is it that out of those moments of adversity you can learn the most about yourself and ultimately put in those kind of performances?
Definitely, but also it's not always easy when you're up against adversity. It's not always easy just to have it within you. I was inspired by a lot of people I saw in a grandstand today, and also the negativity that I received, which was strange, because often you can feel weird when you receive booing or negativity, but I could see a couple of special people out there who decided to be my fans and travel around and support me, and I tried to make eye contact with them and let them know I see them. If they're standing in a crowd of 1,000 people and it's just them standing there with a little flag, and I was like, I see you guys, and they inspire me so much. I was like, so regardless, I'm gonna be just spreading love today. And then the rain came down and washed all the negativity away.
Could it all come undone? The pit lane entry, your decision to stay out, ultimately the right one. How close was that call?
It was so close. I mean, geez, it was kind of scary going over the grass, because the safety car came out. They had said box. It was quite slippery behind the safety car, and they said box, and sometimes there's do the opposite to the car overhead, but I don't believe they said that. And Kimi came in, and I was like, oh my god, I'm in first. I don't really want to come in, because that means I come out behind him and I have to battle him. So I was like, I'm going to stay. I'm just going to... So I came in, told them, and they said, okay, stay out. But I was in the pit lane, so then I turned left. I was like, yeah, because that's what I wanted to do. And they said, no, come in, but I'm riding over the bumps. And then when I was out there, they had a whole panic and everything, but I was sure when I got back on track it was the right thing. It was just nervous because they had new tyres and fresher tyres, but they wake up quicker than mine. That's why it was a little bit harder at the restart, because they had a fresher, more powerful tyres than mine.
Great drive today. A couple of weeks ago, Toto said that the biggest regret he had in his Mercedes career was telling Lewis and Nico not to fight, and that he would never tell his drivers not to fight again. And yet the team did. Do you know why?
Honestly, I do understand why. You know, it must have been quite exciting for them to watch after the safety car. And, you know, with the similar cars, not a massive difference with the tire age. After the first lap, once Lewis was ahead of me, maybe 1 second ahead, I was behind. For me, it would have been anyway very difficult to try and go for it again. It would have been risky to try and move. So I get it completely. We were free to fight in the first lap. You know, he managed to stay ahead, and that was it. But for me, the win I lost today was already during the safety car. So just again, the timing was not that ideal for me with the tire age I had, and I had to stop. And the stop was also quite long.
With that in mind, though, the championship's not over by a long stretch. You still mathematically have as good a shout at it as Lewis, so long as the team is getting a 1-2. Does it matter in what order the cars come? Do you feel you should have been allowed more than just that one lap to fight?
Well, of course, being second, yes, would have been nice, but I mean, yeah, no hard feelings. You know, I think for sure Lewis had a great comeback. You know, he did a mega race. I think one of his best. But in the end, I think he was more lucky with the safety car timing than I was. So, yeah, that was the decisive moment of the race.
Did they owe you one now?
I don't think they owe me anything. You know, I think the team is doing everything for both of us. I feel very much supported. It will come.
Obviously, it's not ever ideal, but that's what how it was. So who knows what without it. The conditions were difficult, that's for sure. It was odd because there was pretty decent grip. Even it felt like quite a bit of rain, and especially turn 6, turn 2 in that area. So it was really hard to know if I should slow down or not and where the grip is, because obviously once you decide earlier on the straight to go kind of more normal, and if there's no grip, it's not much that you can do. So it was pretty difficult, and obviously then there was a tricky moment with one of the lappers, so I lost the second place. But hard to say. If you've done something differently, what the outcome is, but I think we make the most of it more or less with the situation that we were in.
Difficult to say, I know, but you drove a beautiful race. Had you been left in the lead of this race, you would have been that much further up the field. Do you think you could have controlled it from there and maybe won this thing today with the rain falling as it did?
I don't know. It's always easy to say if that, but I don't know. I mean, this is what we got, and that's the fact, and we'll try next week and again.
So that's your top three. Now, ultimately, you may ask the question, why didn't Lewis Hamilton receive a penalty for that pit lane entry? Well, ultimately, he was called to the stewards to answer whether he'd done anything wrong and was found innocent of doing so. So that's it. Ultimately did nothing wrong. I think it's pretty much the simplest way that we can explain that. Other things to discuss, obviously, after that, are the team orders calls between Kimi and Seb. Ultimately, Kimi pitted earlier, had the track position, team made him move out of the way for Sebastian. Very similar to 2010 here in that regard with Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa. And then also, what is it about drivers walking past and flipping me the bird today? Thanks, Max. And then Mercedes with Valtteri and what's his teammate? Lewis, that's the one. Should Valtteri have been allowed to fight Lewis Hamilton? Toto told us on the record earlier this year his biggest regret was Abu Dhabi in 2016 and not letting his drivers race. He said he'd never do that again. He did that today. That's something to discuss in drier climes in Hungary in 1 week's time. For now, though, we're going to speak to that cheeky young scamp who just flipped me the bird. Here's Max Verstappen. He finished 4th. Bit of a shame we didn't have this in the race, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we would have rented a boat then, though. But yeah, I wish it came a little bit earlier.
Great drive from you today. Did you wish that you'd stayed on the Inters when the safety car ultimately came out?
It was very tricky. I think when I went in to get the Inters, it was raining. Then I went out, it was dry, and when I went in again, it started raining again. So it was a bit unlucky, but I think in the end it didn't compromise our result. Just because with the safety car, everybody would have needed new tyres.
And so to P5 at the end of the race, and it fell to Nico Hülkenberg. Renault had a good race weekend, pretty much up to that point. Didn't quite work out for Carlos Sainz in the Grand Prix today, still using that old front wing in comparison to Hulkenberg's new one, but also really just the strategy didn't play out incredibly well for Carlos. Hulkenberg, however, absolutely delighted to bring home good points once again for Renault.
A great race. I mean, of course, if it had rained a bit more, it could have been obviously a bit more exciting race and a bit more maybe thrill and potential. But you know, as it stands, I think we've done a great job. When it started raining, I managed to overtake Magnussen, which brought us to this 5th place and 10 points. So very, very happy. Best result of the season in front of the home crowd. Happy and proud.
Well done. And also for the team to make the calls at the right time. So difficult on a day like this.
Yeah, it is. It reminded me a lot about Brazil 2012, to be honest. That's like the radio is constantly open and you're talking, you're discussing. It was like a few times we called, okay, we're pitting now, but then last minute I decided to stay out until it really felt like I had to pit. So I like this. It's exciting, makes it a bit more challenging, but it's been good fun.
And so to P6, and that position fell quite incredibly to Romain Grosjean. He was 10th with a couple of laps to go, but everything started to come to him. He blasted and scythed his way through the field for an unexpectedly great result. K-Mag really disappointed, having had pretty much the legs on his teammate for the majority of the weekend. But again, it was just down to the strategy at the end and how the rain fell, how the pit stops fell, and Grosjean ultimately lucking out on a season in which he's had so little luck. Great result for the Frenchman.
That was good fun. Good end. Obviously, we didn't get the right choice, put Inters on, but the track dried really quickly for some reason. Whilst we were out there, it was raining, and it's a bit of luck a gamble, but we came back on slicks, and then amazing fun through those last laps. Just pushing it to the limit and going for it. Really good fun. Really good.
Did you ever expect to be in this position come race end?
I think we were quite happy to be settled where we were before the rain came, and then obviously rain came, and it was do you come in, don't you come in, and so on, and at the end was fun.
Next up, the two Force Indias, and if it seems like we're rattling through these and just standing in one position, that's because we are, because Steve doesn't have an umbrella and is soaking right now, so we'll get these done relatively fast. Perez and Ocon, they came over to talk to us at the end when it was absolutely bucketing down. Sergio ran away, Esteban stayed for a few questions. Esteban, second to last at one point during the race, but again, because of the downpour at the end, taking your chances, running, just rolling those dice and running with it. Ocon came home in the points. Great result for Force India on a day when it looked from the start like they wouldn't be having much to write home about.
No, fantastic first stint. Already, I had a great start, past few cars. And then on the second stint, it got really, really exciting, with the rain. And me and Sergio did great to keep the car on track. I was gaining positions. And I was in the points after that rain event, so it was great fun to be driving on the slicks on the rain.
Checo's disappeared already, so I'll get another one from you. Second to last at one point in the race, and you came home in the points. Does that put it down to your driving, team strategy? What was the result down to?
Both really, and it was. I think we stayed solid. We stayed believing it. Keep pushing until the end, and it paid off today. So until it's not over, it's not over.
P9 and P10 today then for two drivers who haven't always had it easy of late. Marcus Ericsson making the most of the conditions for Sauber on the day when Charles Leclerc was pitted in dry conditions for intermediate. Said he was really not happy with the calls that were made today on strategy. Pardon me. Brendan Hartley coming home P10, and that is a huge result for him considering the bad luck that he's had this year. They both talked to us together at the end, huddled under an umbrella in the driving rain. Well done, guys, coming both back in the points today. Tough race for both of you, but many congratulations. Must feel good.
Yeah, thanks. It was very tough conditions out there, and obviously with the rain coming in the middle of the race, and deciding if you're gonna stay out or not. The team was asking a lot about the conditions, but I had some memories from Silverstone a couple of years back when I was pitting every other lap in these conditions, and I threw away some points. So didn't want to do that again. So I just wanted to stay out, and told the team we need to stay out. And in the end, that was the right decision, and really nice to be back in the points.
Similar feelings for you, Brendo?
Yeah, happy with the race. Some really good scraps out there. I made no mistakes. Actually, the team called me to box under the rain to pit for Inters, and I just had a feeling, one more lap, give me one more lap. But you never know if there's a downpour like that. It's the wrong decision. It's fine margins, and it worked out today, and I was really happy with my race.
On a day when the rain falls, well, that's a day when you can make some big steps and some surprise results. We tend to see it the likes of Ericsson and the likes of Hartley both finishing in the top 10 on a weekend when they weren't expected to. And yet, in these conditions, once again, only 2 teams failed to score points, Williams and McLaren. Retirements towards the end for both of them, ultimately robbing them of a result here or even the opportunity to spring a surprise. Van Dorn looked like he was retiring halfway through the race, but the car came back to life. We're going to hear from him, and I think we'll probably hear from Fernando as well, and we're going to hear from Sergei Sirotkin at the end of a disappointing day for him when mechanical problems robbed him of a better result.
I don't really know. I saw the smoke like half lap before. And then I was just had a very quick call on straight to stop the car immediately and jump out. So I didn't even have a minute to understand what's happening.
Till the race, how was it going for you?
It wasn't this in the first couple of laps. Obviously, still when we're in a dirty air and so on, still we're struggling. You're struggling with the pace, also struggling that this extra slip on the tire you put through just to try to fight the cars. It does really affect the tires. So then for the next couple of laps we are offset. So it is still difficult for us in those areas. Also the wind was strong, which again is not the best for us. I mean it was reasonable, honestly. Once it settled down, I think it was we were doing a good race, managing the situation. And after the pit stop, the same. And then when the rain came, I was really confident. I mean, you saw how much I gained to all the cars ahead. Then I was a bit screwed up with the Red Bull on Inters, but I mean, like it took me half a lap to gain it all back. So I mean, I felt really confident on the rain. I definitely felt that I have much more control than the cars around. And then when the safety car came, I really thought, wow, this is a chance. Really, let's use it. Unfortunately, it's ended up like that.
Yeah, a very strange race. We had a terrible first part. Engine suddenly decided to give up. We put it in safety settings, had to retire the car. So we were kind of bringing the car to the pit lane. Then the team made a call to change a lot of settings, try again, and everything seemed to work again. A bit lower power than normal, but we got ourselves back in the race. We had 2 great calls with the rain coming in. Didn't box, toughed it out on the slicks in the wet, and 13 was probably the best we could have done. At least we got ourselves back in the race.
I didn't know the problem, but they told me to stop the car, so probably they saw something on the data. Tricky race. We bet on the rain. The first drops of rain, we stopped for the wet tire, expecting heavy rain. It didn't come, so we were out there with a completely dry track with a wet tire. So we killed the tire and then we stopped again for the dry. So it was difficult conditions out there, but we were not in the points. We had to try something.
Daniel, not the end to the fun afternoon that you wanted.
No, we finally had some clear air and it seemed like we were doing okay, but to be honest, I wasn't happy with the medium at all. I was really struggling just coming through the back markers. As soon as the lights went out, actually, I dropped the clutch and I just sat there. And that was kind of the level of grip I had for what felt like the first 20 laps or something. So I think it was going to actually come good for us. We would have been strong at the end, but those first few laps was tough. And then just had a loss of power out of turn 6, and I could hear it sounded sick, and the team just said switch it off. So I guess engine failure, but I'm yet to see the guys.
Finally then, let's hear from the guy who had this whole race wrapped up. Would have been his first home victory here at Hockenheim, Sebastian Vettel, fuming with himself, punching his steering wheel when he went off. But as you're about to hear, already I think making peace with it. Small mistake, massive impact on his championship, and of course that dream of winning here in Hockenheim.
Well, not much emotions. I mean, disappointed. So obviously quite unspectacular way to end the race. Up to that point I think everything was fine, but then obviously a small mistake with a big impact on the race result.
What does it mean to have done so well throughout this whole weekend and just that one small little thing to take it away?
Well, it's like this, it's racing, so it's my mistake. We didn't need the rain obviously in the race looking back, but that's what it was. It was the same for everyone.
Do you take consolation from the fact that you pretty much had this thing buttoned up from the first lap?
Yeah, well, as you see, sometimes it doesn't matter, so I think we have nothing to fear moving forwards as long as we make progress, but for sure it was not a good day in the end.
So that, folks, is your lot from a very rainy Paddock Pass. My hat off and kudos to Steve, who is soaked to his skin. It's not a pretty sight. Thankfully for you, you don't have to see it. I do. That's why that's it. We'll see you later.